egg? She said, I believe this woman thinks she's got an impossible problem, but I believe you can solve that problem with her in just a few minutes if you will spend that time with her. I said, well, Laurie, tell her to meet me backstage. I'll get there about 10 minutes early. My schedule was such that was about all I had. Well, I got there, and I was on backstage behind the curtain on one side. She spotted me from the other side, and as she walked across the stage, I have never seen as much anger in a human being in my life as I saw in her. She almost started crying when she saw me. She said, oh, I'm just so glad to see you. I got this horrible job. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate everybody down there. I mean, you talking about negative nails, she was it. She said, can you help me? Now, understand, I've only got about 10 minutes. So I looked at her, and one thing I have learned, I don't do counseling, but I talk with a lot of people who do, in psychology, psychiatry, and the ministry. And they tell me that everybody who comes to you with a problem are not necessarily looking for a solution. I couldn't understand that for a long time. Why do they bring you a problem if they don't want to solve it? Well, I can tell you why. They want to tell you about it, you about it, you about it, you about it, and you about it. And if you foul up the deal and solve the problem, they can't tell you again, you again. They want the attention that goes with the problem, and every company just about it has that kind of an individual. They want the attention that goes with griping and complaining. Well, I looked at the lady, and it wasn't unkindly, but firmly I said to her, yes, and you know, ma'am, I'm afraid your problem is about to get worse. She said, what do you mean? I said, I believe they're going to fire you. She was stunned. I couldn't have stunned her more if I'd hit her in the face with a bucket of ice water. She said, fire me? Why on earth would they fire me? The inflection in her voice clearly said, they're the bad guys, I'm the good guy. Why don't they fire them and keep me? Have you ever noticed that people who are the problem never recognize that they are? They're in complete denial. They think denial is just a river in Egypt. Why would they fire me? I said, ma'am, I don't believe there's a company in America big enough to contain this much poison in one small spot. Have you ever noticed that when somebody is about to lose something they've been complaining about, whether it's a car, a home, a mate, a job, or whatever, when all of a sudden it appears they're going to lose them, it takes on brand new value. She looked at me and said, well, what can I do? I said, do you really want to know? She said, yes, I do. That's the reason I came to see you. I came looking for help, but you sure haven't been any help so far. I said, well, ma'am, I've got an idea, and I will absolutely guarantee you it positively, definitely, absolutely will work if you will just do it. She said, I'll try anything within reason. I said, okay, when you get home tonight, all of your household tasks are complete. It's bedtime. Get off in a room right by yourself. Get a sheet of paper out, and at the top of it, write, I like my job because. She interrupted me. She said, that'll be easy. I don't like nothing about that job. Don't like nothing about those people down there. And I said, well, just as a matter of curiosity, do you work there for benevolent reasons, or do they pay you for working there? She said, well, I got to confess, they pay me. And I said, and you don't like to be paid? Oh, she said, yes, I do. I said, okay, tell you what you do. Open your notebook right now. We'll start our list of the things you like about your job. They pay you for working there, and you do like it, don't you? She said, absolutely. But she just stood there. I said, no, open your notebook now, and we'll get busy on the list. She just stood there. I said, ma'am, let me tell you what my experience in life has been. I've discovered that in 100% of the cases, no exceptions, people who won't take step number one never take step number two. You see, she had come to me with an impossible dream. Her dream was that nice Mr. Ziegler was going to solve all of her problems, and she would live happily ever after. But folks, I got news for you. I can't solve her problems. I can't solve your problems. But I will give you some steps that I'll absolutely, definitely, and positively will work for you, as it worked eventually for her. I said, well, ma'am, let me tell you something. Unless you're willing to take step number one right now, it's been nice talking with you. She angrily opened her notebook. Before we got through, there were 22 things she liked about her job. Not only did they pay her for working there, they paid her above average. She had 3 weeks vacation with pay. She had a retirement program. She was in on profit sharing. She had health insurance, life insurance, and accident insurance. She lived less than 10 minutes from home. She was in on management decisions. The company sent her to 3 seminars a year to be paid for. She had her own private office and parking place. 22 things that she liked about her job. Now I said, man, when you get home tonight, everything is finished. Get off in a room right by yourself, close the doors, change one word from I like my job to I love my job. Get in front of that mirror, and folks, I cannot say this strongly enough, but I'm going to try. The eyes are the windows of the soul. Look yourself in the eye, and with excitement and enthusiasm, say, I love my job because they pay me for working there. I love my job because they pay me above average for working there. I love my job because they have a wonderful insurance program. I love my job before every one of the statements. You will sleep better that night. You see, there's something hidden in what I'm saying to you now. When she says, I like my job, she's really saying, I'm grateful for my job. And of all of the emotions we can have, according to Hans Selye, the #1 stress specialist in America, the healthiest of all human emotions is gratitude. I said, you go down that list. I like my job. I love my job, rather. That is a way of gratitude. You'll sleep better the first night. Tomorrow morning, when you get up, get back in front of the mirror just before you go to work. Get back in front of the mirror and repeat the process again with excitement and enthusiasm. I love my job because, and take the list with you. Because the reality is, you see, you will have started to change from a fault finder to a good finder. Some people do really find fault like there's a reward for it. They really do. Take the list with you, and you will be able to add to that list, absolutely guaranteed. Do this every morning and every night, and you will have an astonishing recovery from this advanced case of stinking thinking. Now, I didn't say that to her, but I'm saying it to you. That's what it was. It was an advanced case of stinking thinking. Well, 6 weeks later, I was back in Birmingham, Alabama. I was doing a follow-up sales seminar. Now, the lady was not in sales, but she had been listening to my tapes. She had been listening to Automobile University, and she had discovered that everybody sells. Everybody who will ever hear this is in selling. Whether you're a school teacher, a civil service worker, a military personnel, an executive secretary, it doesn't make any difference. What you do, you sell every day of your life. There she was at the sales seminar, seated on the front row, grinning so wide she could have eaten a banana sideways. I'm telling you, you're talking about somebody that was excited. She was turned on. I said, well, how you done? She grinned even more broadly and said, Mr. Ziegler, I'm doing wonderfully well, and thank you for asking. She said, you cannot believe how much those people down there have changed. I got to lay it on the line, folks. You're not going to change anybody else till you change you. Everything really does begin with you. Now, you see, the unfortunate thing, this lady had been raised in a very negative environment. First, her parents had told her that she'd never amount to anything. They had said, you know, you're always late, you're always sloppy, why can't you be like your brother or your sister or whatever? When she got married, her husband had continued it, and so her self-talk had become completely negative. Everything that she said about herself was negative. Like Dad said, I'll never amount to anything. Or like my husband says, I can't do anything right. But when she started changing the input, then some radical change.
What's up, Fire Nation? Another bonus episode coming your way. This one was a great chat. I had a lot of fun with Terry Wilson. Terry is a serial entrepreneur who offers entrepreneurs and solopreneurs the tools, training, and technology needed to earn and enjoy more. For the past 13 years, he's helped thousands of hungry individuals discover their thing, develop the skills to do it, and be given a strategy to deliver it to market and produce value. Terry has a weekly podcast that can be heard on iTunes, Stitcher, and at terrywilson3.com. He also wrote a book called You Are Worth More, which you can check out at youareworthmorebook.com. We have a lot of fun in this episode, Fire Nation. I truly hope you enjoy. It's hard. It is hard work to achieve uncommon success. But you know what else is hard, Terry? being broke.
You better believe that.
Living paycheck to paycheck, not being able to support your loved ones, not being able to support yourself, not being able to get up in the morning and do something that you want to do, but doing something you have to do. That's hard too. So Terry, my call to action for everybody here is choose your hard. Like back in 2012, it was hard. I spent 32 years of my life doing hard work and making the wrong decision on choosing my hard. I was going down the wrong path. I wasn't having any success. But then I flipped it and I said, you know what? Building this business, Entrepreneurs on Fire, it's going to be hard work. But the alternative is hard too. So I choose the hard of building a life of freedom, of building a life of choice, of building a life of uncommon success. And that's my call to action to everybody hearing our voices today. Choose your hard.
Choose your heart. Boy, I love that. You know, because there's a high cost of low living. And sometimes we think that, you know, we're just going to get out of this easy by taking the path of least resistance. And boy, sometimes the end of that path is just a tiger. I'm telling you, brother, I'm telling you.
Identify your big idea. Not be a weak, pale imitation of somebody else's big idea, which most people do. They're like, oh, look at what Terry's doing. He's so successful. Look what John's doing. I'll just copy them. And then you wonder why you fail, because you're a weak, pale imitation of those people and you will never win as a result. You need to come up with your big idea, your zone of fire, and wake up every day on fire, living that life. That is the life that you deserve. Because what at the end of the day do we really want? Freedom. The ability to wake up and do what we want, where we want to do it, with whom we want to do it with. If you have those three things, what more is there in life? And you can give yourself that gift. Just take it.
Which is identifying why are you here? You know, I like to say it this way. You're not a cosmic accident. You didn't show up on planet Earth because lightning struck a mud puddle billions of years later and you crawled out. You're a significant person with a significant reason for being here. There's a reason for you to be here. And once you identify that big idea, as John just said it, life becomes, oh my gosh, becomes unimaginable. Give us go ahead.
Just on that point real quick. I mean, I think it's so key for people to understand this, like what Terry is just sharing. There is so much wisdom out there in this world, but there's also so much noise and it's chaotic. And sometimes it's so hard to really cut through all of this and to really get to the meat and potatoes, to really get down to what matters.
Does anyone know Terry's story, what Terry did?
I do.
So Terry sold musical instruments, sold pianos, right? And what was it? Was it 9/11 that created the problem?
Yeah.
9/11 creates a problem. Nobody wants to go. There's no money in town anymore. It's a brick and mortar store. Some woman comes up to him in church, some older woman, and she's like, I was thinking about your problem, and the Lord told me you should sell them on the computer. Sell your pianos on the computer. And Terry's like, that's a great idea. I got to get out of here because you're crazy. So, of course, he does it in that sweet way where he says, oh, bless your heart. And
Bless your
he
heart.
thinks about it. And then he's like, you know, he told me about the story about, you know, the guy, it's a flood and, you know, you should get out. No, the Lord's going to save me. And at the end, he goes to God and says, why didn't you save me? He's like, I did. You know, I tried. I sent you the news report. I sent you a helicopter. You know. So Terry takes that and he's like, God's telling me what to do here, right? So I should do. That was the message. I should sell these things online. His first thought when the woman tells him that is, how am I gonna, because she said her grandson sold CDs.
On eBay.
Terry's like, how am I, you could just put them, I can't put a stamp on a piano. This is crazy.
Drop it in the mailbox.
Yeah, so the next day, right? The next day he starts sells them out in a week. So he doesn't think about, he doesn't latch on to his idea of I can't ship these things cheaply, right? He just goes past that. He goes, well, what's my first solution? My first solution is I got to sell these things. That's all he's thinking about. He sells out his whole inventory in a week. Then the problem comes to him. How do I get rid of these things? I've now sold them. How do I deliver them? So what would you guys have done?
Hire a U-Haul and drive them out there.
Yeah, that's what Terry did. Terry got a truck and just was like, well, I'm going to take my brother-in-law. We're going to go around the country. We're going everywhere. And he delivered pianos for 2 weeks. That's amazing. And then, then he's like, oh, and the next thing is I talked to someone.
Welcome to TerryWilson3.com.
Decade of helping others
Discover, develop, and monetize your skills and talents
At TerryWilson3.com.
This is the Terry Wilson. Really, I'm excited, Terry. I want to get started.
You're the real deal, right? You're the genuine article.
Right now, Terry, I'm so inspired after listening to you for the last 25, 30 minutes to go back and do about 400 things. You got me so jazzed up.
I'm still blown away by your story.
When I think of Terry Wilson, I think about the comeback kid.
You're like a cousin or an uncle that I just want to hang out with.
Terry, you have made a huge impact in my life.
Can't possibly say enough good things about you except that I love you.
Here's your host, Terry Wilson.
It's not Terry Wilson, it's me. It's Reagan. This is episode 495 of the TW3 podcast. We're going to be going over our 2021 year in review. So if you're going to skip an episode, this is the one to do it. No, I'm kidding. Please stay. Welcome, everyone, to the final live podcast of 2021. Tonight, we're reviewing all of the amazing growth and gains we've all had in 2021. Whether the moment brought a win or a lesson, we've all had opportunities to find some value out of the past year. So should we have a great time? We should have a great time going over those moments. We should have.
And tonight's podcast is brought to you by DoorDash. This is the season for tons of travel, shopping, and planning. Why not take the pressure off of what's to eat? Get up to 50% off of your next order by going to TerryWilson3.com/DoorDash and let them bring you your next order hot, fresh meal. That's TerryWilson3.com/DoorDash.
Now, was that really better? Was that really better than what we normally get from him?
Hey, I loved it. I loved it. I got to admit.
Just a heads up for everybody, there's no mastermind this week, nor a podcast next week. There's a Christmas thing going on, Christmas. Take this time to enjoy and make memories with your friends and family. Also, this is new for me. Also, ticket support will be closed from, I'm reading this with you guys. It's going to be closed from this Wednesday, December 22nd, till Monday, December 27th. Okay, so I can take Wednesday through. Okay, cool.
You're just now getting your work schedule this week.
Yeah. So now I'm receiving it. So just be aware, all of our holidays, this will be our holiday support schedule. All new business written during that period will be processed as normal within 48 to 72 hours of enrollment. Oh, and then I'm also up next speaking again. Remember, if you have any questions, you can
Real professional podcast we got going on here.
Sometimes I just read the notes and it's like me, and then it goes back to me, but this time I don't have an A. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always text us at 864-507-9696. That's 864-507-9696. If you are live with us tonight, feel free to send it in through the chat, and one of our members would be happy to help.
Well, let me tell you, talking about Christmas, Christmas came early. Christmas. Check it out. Look at this.
Oh, I
finally got it. You know what that means?
Well, it looks like Gary's handwriting.
It looks like Gary's handwriting on here. For those that are listening to the audio podcast, which is 95% of you, I'm holding up a World Series baseball for 2021 that's got the Braves logo on it and this signature right here that says Gary Green. He signed it for me, and you guys have to check it out. So that's going to go back behind there. So thank you, Mr. Greenbacks. I have got my baseball. I got it in the mail this morning, and it has been sitting on my desk, and I've just been staring at it the entire time.
It's got the scores of each game on there, too.
It's got the scores of each game. I mean, look at that. That thing is just...
Oh, somebody wrote on your ball. That sucks.
I was hoping he would scratch out the commissioner's name and just put his name right there instead.
That'd be pretty funny.
But Gary, thank you so much. This is going to go back here beside the other baseball that you bought me back a few years ago when your Houston Astros had won the World Series. That was a gift that he gave me at the 2018 conference. He came in and
keeping the tradition alive.
Yeah, he did. And so
cool.
I'm very glad to have this. I can't tell you, it's very meaningful to me. So that goes back there. Hey guys, 2021, what a great year. Even in the times that was challenging, it was a wonderful year, and we had times to learn a lot of stuff. we've made a lot of changes this year.
2021 was a big year for us. I would say specifically with our tools and stuff. It's kind of a game changer for us.
Yeah, I think
you look at our system a year ago compared to now.
It's a different company.
It's a different company.
Different business, different tools, products.
The value proposition is much higher now.
Yeah.
Oh, it is just absolutely. And you couple that with the financing component, it has just made it, because you've got this high ticket. If you're wanting to get into business to have something to sell of high value, here you have this great software package that's an app that has a calendar, a voice broadcaster, a bulk emailer. It's got all that stuff under one hood rather than all these.
I took some calls this morning because we're ramping up some of our sales just before the end of the year, and just the conversation I'm having now versus before the conference when I was doing most of my sales again.
Right.
Polar opposites, because we've always had, for the sales guys on, we've always had that. You can kind of take it any angle.
Right.
It's like, well, what do you want? Because you can literally have any type of conversation and make it a profitable conversation for you from any direction.
Right.
But I talked to a lot of guys today that were just looking for the tool aspect of it, like how does it work, generating leads and stuff. And to be able to just pull up our tools page or our app, like on terrywilson3.com, and just be able to show our guys, like, hey, this is a brand new thing that we just rolled out on top of the 10 plus years of training and like in-depth, breakdown videos of how we use each tool and stuff.
All the different illustrations of how things work. The difference between, and I think you have to be here for a while to appreciate this in context, but it used to be sort of this component over here, and then this component over here, and then this component over here. Yep. And none of it ever worked together. We curated a bunch of tools for people. Because that's what I was having to do, because nothing out there was just sort of under one hood.
Right.
And to have this, and I guess you heard Mark at the Elite Mastermind.
Dials.
Yeah, Mark Dials. Dialing it in, Mark Dials. I mean, here's a guy that has had a lot of extensive online marketing experience, so he understands the value here, and he says he's just getting a candy store. So I took that little excerpt that he said. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a commercial coming up. Him just talking about, that's our commercial for the app, is him, dude, this and that. And if you look at my thing, it looks like someone's just going through there and just playing. Yeah. Because he gets it. Yep. And to be able to have your calendar connected to your CRM, or your opt-in page connected to your CRM, or your membership product where you're building a product to do training or teaching and stuff, connected to your CRM. Yep. Your email system, CRM. Your text system, CRM. Everything, all roads lead to Rome. You got it. And so every conversation, if they went on your website and they looked at any particular page, it tells you how long they were there, what they clicked on, and it's all captured right there in that CRM. Yep. So project management.
And if you were to go out and try to find those tools, you can. You can find these tools but it's either A, not all put together for you, like this is, or B, it's much, much more expensive. Oh, and that's just the reality of it.
We ran the numbers, and it's about 15, maybe 18, depending on a couple components, but it could be as much as $1,800 a month.
Right.
$1,800 per month to have the same thing that we charge, as low as $20 a month if you finance it, or $89 a month if you can get the top package. So it's very affordable. And on top of all that, if you had all those tools, what do you do with it?
Right.
How do you put it all together to make it work? How do you make money with it?
You not only have the training videos, so videos that go step by step, you're going to use this part of this tool, and then you're going to use that. So we have the videos for it, but then you have ticket support, just in case the video didn't make sense. You say, hey, 28 minutes into this video, I don't get it. What are you saying?
Right.
Can help break it down for you. You get a recruiter, so you have a coach.
Yeah.
They'll typically talk to you 2 or 3 times a week on the phone. It's phone support. Then we have Wednesday night trainings. Then we have the Monday night podcast where you can ask your questions.
Yeah.
It's a good business to be in.
And then on top of all of that, one of the hardest things, and this is something we don't talk about a lot, but I do think at the end of the year it's apropos. One of the hardest things I had starting out a business years ago, I don't get this anymore, but it's like, oh, this is a fly-by-night, flash in a pan, here today, gone tomorrow. That credibility component when you first start out, who are you? Most of the time when a business is just starting, it's that proof of concept and winning people's answering that credibility question is difficult. It just is. And to be able to say, hey, I'm with you might be 30 days in this business.
Right.
But you say, I'm with TW3, 13 and a half years, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. It's proven. Go back here and watch all these videos. Even though I personally don't have all of this experience and all of this backing as far as know-how, I've got a company behind me that does. I think that's strong.
It is.
I think that's very strong.
And I think it makes it easier for our members too. I mean, there's always conversations I have where I feel a little bit weaker than others.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to a car guy, I feel pretty confident because I've had a lot of those conversations.
Right.
If I'm getting into a nitty gritty conversation of like, well, how are your tools going to help me in the financial market?
Right.
The reality is I'm probably not going to know, but I feel like we've done a pretty good job of going, here's our tools page. Here's 14 other markets we used it for.
And here's some reviews of people in that specific industry.
Like even though I'm, there's always going to be areas that you could learn more. I feel like we give our members enough ammo to where it's like, you can always feel kind of confident in any conversation.
Yeah. So I think the tools being upgraded, the financing to make it more affordable. And then something else that happened this year that I think is really cool. For the first time, we're able to break apart our tools with our membership.
Yep.
So that's going to be, and I think that is really where 2022, I see a lot of stuff in that arena that's really going to take off. The ability to say, hey, all you need is this one component. You're already in business over here. You're already doing this.
Yeah.
That is going to be pretty strong.
I'm excited for it.
It's going to be very, very cool. Well, guys, when we get back, we're going to break open some of our favorite moments this past year. Some of it's serious, and warning, caveat emptor, River brought some, so some of it's just
it was curated by us, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
And you know our sense of humor, so just get ready. But some of it is just, some of it's going to pull on your heart, just to be honest with you. And some of it you're going to laugh, some of it's going to cry, and some of it you're going to be inspired by. At least we were, and we hope you are too, when we get back right after this. So here are some reviews of members who are using the brand new TW3 app.
Well, you kind of outdid yourself on this application. Man, there are some nice bells and whistles in here. I mean, this thing is able to do and function in ways that combine a number of different applications together and seamlessly communicate. It's integrated. If you look at my app, you'll say, here's an example of somebody that just got in here and started playing around. No, it's fun, man. It is a fantastic application. And, the funnels, the tracking system, the opportunity, the CRM is all, I love it. It's beautiful. And one, it just takes some time. And then once you do it over and over again, it becomes easier, so the more time you spend working at it, the easier it gets.
To harness the power of the new TW3 app, go to TerryWilson3.com today or call, text, or email your authorized TW3 member.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com.
Inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
Welcome back. I couldn't tell if my volume was on. We've picked some special moments over the last year that we really liked, whether it made us laugh or, just gave us some good value for us personally. These are all the moments that we picked. I get to go first for obvious reasons. So yeah, we got that ahead, I think. He's making a face. I don't know if he's got it.
All right, here we go. I'm having to do this live, so be patient. Here we go. Let's check this one out here.
Map that you can follow. And let's just start with a couple at step one. Identify your big idea. Terry, it is a crime, but it's true. Most people are going to die never even knowing what their big idea is. Just because they never sat down to think about it. They're so busy. They're just going from one thing to another. There's a fantastic book. And believe me, I think you should go read this book too. It's that good. It's called The 5 biggest regrets of the dying. And it was written by a hospice nurse who spent 20 years spending time with people in the last couple of days of their life. And what was one of their 5 biggest regrets? That they lived a life based on other people's expectations and opinions. Like, do you want to do that for the rest of your life? Like, today is a day you can stop doing that and go forward. Like, I went to law school for a semester. I spent $20,000 for those 6 months. A lot of people would have condemned themselves to a life of being a miserable lawyer, but I ripped myself out of that. And I said, no, today's a new day. This is not for me. I'm going forward in the right direction now. And that was the best decision I made now 15 years ago. I mean, thank God I made that decision, or I'd be some middling, miserable lawyer somewhere doing something.
So that was a small excerpt. His bigger talking point, I think, was like a 17 step program that he's talking about, just finding your big idea and stuff. I really enjoyed your guys' conversation though, so I wanted to plug that in there. If anybody wants more of it, obviously then go listen to it.
Yeah, that's episode 454. That's when I had JLD on.
Yeah,
Entrepreneurs on Fire.
He had a really good excerpt there, just talking about, you know, how many people get to the end of their life and then they regret all the time that was wasted on X, or how many times do we get it? I know me especially, you get into just this like this rhythm of just like you do the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get the things that are like required of you to get done, it's easy for us to just mentally check out and go, okay, well, I did my things that are done. Now let's, you know, you waste time.
Right.
But it's like, that time is just so easily wasted and you never get it back.
Right.
And just that thought of like, are you doing everything that you can with the time that was given to you to make it the best that you can? So that's a great conversation. If you guys haven't listened to it, super recommend it. You know, everybody knows.
I think out of that conversation is the one line I probably, matter of fact, I pulled it as an excerpt and I put it on the front of the show as a warm up. But that line he pulled where, you know, working paycheck to paycheck is hard.
Yep.
But starting your own business is hard.
Choose your hard.
Choose your hard.
Yeah. It's great. It's a great way to put it, though.
It really is, because there's no.
How many people do we talk to? Like you mentioned the statistic all the time, which is like 98%.
98% of home-based businesses fail because it's hard, and it's not because 98% of people can't do it.
Right.
It's that 98% of people won't do it. I mean, how many times have you seen me fail?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
all the time.
I mean, it's
literally every day. Literally. Like step by step.
I mean, I'm looking now. But it's true, though. I mean,
you would think it would get better, but then the third one was even worse.
You guys are the only thing I've done right. But seriously, it's one of those things where you've got to be okay with not being okay sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to find the emotional, internal fortitude to say, I'm going to keep going when everything in me wants to quit. But
yeah, I think we all say it like life sucks sometimes. I think everybody says that, right?
Yeah.
But how often do we actually internalize that? Like literally, life is difficult.
Life
it's supposed to be really difficult.
It is. But you know, you can't appreciate I keep going back to a lot of my theological stuff. I won't bring that up, but even the stuff I was listening to Peterson the other day on some psychological stuff. The only thing that brings value to a win is the chance for the loss. If everything was always a win, there is no context to judge it. And the way we're psychologically made up is we're constantly comparing one to another. Up is not up unless there's a down. East is not east unless there's a west. I mean, it's just
there's no weight without the consequence.
There isn't.
Yeah.
And so there's no value in money unless people are wanting it, right? It's the supply and demand of economics.
Yeah.
There's a demand for peace, but there's a struggle for it in life. And so it's the struggle and the lessons within the struggle that really is the thing that's rewarding if you let it be. I mean, this year has been challenging for a lot of people, and it's been challenging for us. You know, it's been up, down, but looking back on it, it's been a growth, but it's been a growth like this. It's just not been a straight line.
We went from 5 years, 2015 to 2020.
So like a rocket ship.
Like this.
Yeah.
And now we're more like.
Yeah.
Which is actually a more standard growth pattern for most.
It really is. So. But, you know, thank God, number one, we've just got some incredible people in this business. that I think far beyond any tool that we have, any training we have, any technology we have, the people we have has just really made this a special place. But you're right, JLD there, that was great. He was talking about a book he read about, was it a hospice nurse?
It was a hospice nurse that had seen a lot of people pass away.
Yeah.
But she's talking about their 5 biggest regrets on their deathbed, basically.
Yeah. And that was a great life lesson.
By the way, that episode's not... it's not depressing. It's actually a pick me up. But
no,
yeah.
no, I think this is a pick me up. I'm inspired by this because at the end of the day, what am I doing today to make tomorrow better? And that's the whole context. And don't let getting punched in the face stop you. Punch back.
I really like his excerpt. I didn't realize this for the longest time, but he went to law school and he had dropped out. I didn't realize that. But that's a hard decision to make.
Yeah.
Number one, it's hard to get into law school, so let's assume you get in there. You've already not wasted, but you've already spent. What did he say? $20,000?
Yeah, he's already invested $20,000.
That's $20,000 of his own money into this education that you're pulling out of for something that you don't know is going to work.
And let's talk about the $20,000, the investment he made. Where did it come from? Serving in the military, getting shot at over in Iraq.
Yeah. Wow. Yep.
So he took what he got paid to go put his life on the line to come back. And then in $20,000 in, he goes, this doesn't provide the freedom I want.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's doing what we offer people to do any and every day for as little as $89. Come on. When I start seeing these things and put them in context, I'm sorry if I'm being a little harsh, but it infuriates me that people have the audacity to complain a little bit because I can't do. Come on, suck it up, Buttercup. Let's go. You deserve more. You're worth more.
Yeah.
Quit quitting on yourself. We're not quitting on you. You got the tools, the training. You got everything everyone else has got. You got more opportunity. And I started with a lot of people, so let's go.
Here's the other question. How long did it, because I think he talks about it in that episode, if I remember. It didn't happen overnight either.
No.
And the amount of people that I see go from... It excites me, but it also that's why with my guys, I'm always making sure there's a vetting process for me that I want guys that have worked for themselves before.
Yes.
It's nothing against people that come from, because I come from the
You don't
hourly
have to
world.
take the time to convince them about
But I
it.
can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody be in it for a month, not make a sale, therefore not make any money yet.
Right.
And they go, well, this doesn't work. Or this is a scam. It's like, do you realize how hard it, number one, all the steps that you personally took to mitigate starting your own business.
Yes.
Right. And they get started for as low as $147 because in-house financing, right?
Right.
GI.
Yeah.
You get started as an SRT. And then you have, I'll just say, you have the gall to say, it doesn't work. It's a scam. It's like, just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean, we've been in business 12 years. We've got an 83%
If it doesn't
retention
work,
rate.
explain to me, how is it working for everyone else that it's working for?
Yeah.
The only variable is the person. And this is not us trying to be harsh. It's not me being harsh.
No, but what that really is saying, you can do it.
Absolutely.
Other people are doing it. You can do it as well.
Different people of different ages,
Yep.
ethnic groups, regions of the country, education.
Oh, yeah.
It really...
There's been a wide array of people that have come into our business and done really well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Good stuff. I love it. Well, we got another one. This is queued up by Riblet himself. So let's get over there and see what River's got for us. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit scared. So here we go. We're going to start without him. I don't care.
That's right.
Valerie, if you felt like the break went a little longer than it should have, one of us, I'm not going to mention which one, needed to take a break.
We're going to put one of you in the corner, one of you guys in the corner.
I'm telling you. What are you going to do with us?
Valerie, Separate the three of you.
Valerie's like, every time I come on this show, it's like babysitting a bunch of morons.
It doesn't get better.
It doesn't get better. It doesn't. Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry. Are you mad at me?
No, I'm not
Yes
mad.
no?
Just put
Yes
your
or no?
We're live right now, just so you know.
What's going on, guys? Just got back from a restroom break.
You didn't have to say why.
Yeah, I can. I just did.
Valerie, what would you tell a 17-year-old boy that has a resting heart rate? I don't think you knew we were actually on, did you?
I don't think I did.
You just came in thinking we were still just
messing around.
And so you were being very real while we were live.
Yeah.
We have cuts of
there are things that we had to just left on the chopping floor around here.
Some of this stuff is a little bit edited, especially our excerpts and stuff. We edit it for good reason.
For good reason.
But occasionally we throw in our outtakes and you kind of see why. And I think I was right. I don't remember when we did that, but I do remember making 2 comments. Number one, it was in there. It doesn't get better. We don't get better. It's specifically us. We haven't gotten better.
Yeah, I was feeling so. I said, Valerie, I'm so sorry. I mean, here we are. We're talking business and everything. And then River flops the door back and, hey, I'm sorry, man. He's doing it. I don't know what accent that he's just accentuating.
We got to have Valerie on more, though.
Yes.
Because she does a really good job of saying, hey, that's enough.
That's enough. Get back to business.
Do what you're supposed to do.
We got to get back. Matter of fact, we're going to queue her up the first of the year and get her back in rotation along with everybody else. We've had to take a little bit of break, and we've had a lot of disruption since the conference in September, but we're going to get back on a normal schedule here before long. So that was something else that we launched in 2021 was bringing on the radio personalities to sort of sit in with us.
I forgot that was 2021.
Yeah, we started that this year, and that's been great as well.
Yeah.
So, well, here is another, speaking of radio personalities, one of the first that came on the show to co-host with us and be on. This was episode 452, talking and speaking with rock stars. And it's when I interviewed Tristan Bowden, the drummer of Chicago. And since he was from Chicago, I wanted to get Tom from Chi-Town on, who was also a big Chicago fan, and he came on with us. And so here is a little bit of that excerpt. Well, I'm proud of you, and I love seeing what you're doing in your world, and so that's great. And thank you for being on tonight. Tom Reagan, his counterpart, is busy doing honeydew stuff because of a wedding coming up.
He acts like he's busy.
Yeah, he acts like he's got response. And see what happens when you grow up and get married. So, Tom, what are you into?
I've got a bunch of projects that some of them with deadlines, some of them approaching deadlines. Of course, those who are familiar with the TW3 radio network know that I've got a podcast and a new one that will be launching this Thursday. Kind of proud of that one.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we had a great time this past Wednesday in our mastermind group with one of my personal friends and a coach of mine. And so I'll pull it down right there. But that was Tom from Chi-Town, who unfortunately left us this past year. And I couldn't go on talking about 2021 without bringing him up. He was just such a wonderful, wonderful man in this business, from the car business, and that whole world. And he had just was a TW3 fan. And for all the members out there, I want you to think about this. We started off with JLD talking about when people are on their deathbed and having regrets and all this. One of the most meaningful things I think I've ever had given to me or honored to receive was, when a person passes on, a lot of times what's in their obituary, what's in that is, the highlight rim of their life. He graduated here. He married this person. He had these children. Here were his children. Here's, where he went to church. If you make the top 5, 10 list there, if you even make the list.
Yeah.
And I think the third or fourth thing in his obituary, a proud member of TW3. And I was like, holy cow.
Yeah. Wow. Not much more you can say other than, we miss Tom.
Miss Tom
every day.
Every day. Think about him. And we just special prayers for the Sellers family. Mm-hmm. But it, to me, just drives home when I tell people this is a family. It's a family. I mean, you can feel it when we're in those mastermind groups, and we definitely sort of felt it this past year when we had everybody over at the house, some of our radio personalities and the people that are really inside the business here. So that was a wonderful time. there. And speaking of that, that time period of everybody here at the house and joining in, I got a little excerpt from there I'll play for you real quick, and so you can hear it as well. So let's cue that up here. See why I mess up on these buttons now? Can you see I'm having to do like 15 things at once? Someone cut me a break.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be training on, get ready, folks. I got a major announcement. It's the secret Gary Green formula being released here at the conference Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you're not going to be here, you better get in a car and you better drive straight here.
Now, the Colonel Sanders don't even give up his. Now, you know what's so funny about this, guys?
Didn't somebody?
Two people.
Yeah, two people.
Two people. After
do you have their name? They deserve a shout out.
Yes, Greenbacks and of course Millertimer was on here, and he says, "What are you doing? Get in your car." You shouldn't even, because they were talking back and forth. One of them was Dale Bryson, and the other one was Letitia Staley. Letitia out there in Austin, drove all night and half the next day. Okay, this was done here, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Conference starts tomorrow morning at 10 p.m., 11 p.m.?
Yeah.
And then Dale is down there in Miami, and he drives up. I mean, literally gets out of the car from driving all night, walks right in to be at the conference. And then, of course, Letitia, the next day, it took her a little bit longer. And this is only a 2.5-day conference.
Yeah.
So
those are go-getters.
Go-getters. You want to talk about people that's going to go to the next level, that's committed to do it. I love being around people like that, because these are people that's going to walk through a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter of time. They're going to get what they want. And so I love that. But having, of course, Coach Bobby in here, and Gary and Lori and Chris Miller, it was just... And then them going out, this is when I just got the Tesla, and we took them all out, and they were all driving. And then, of course, Chris Miller, hysterical. I mean, Gary's just driving around town. I'm driving around town, just a little bit here on the country roads and stuff in our little area.
Chris Miller said, "Where's the
and
highway?"
Chris says, "Where's the interstate at? We can open this thing up."
I love that.
So he just opens it up.
Poor Lori.
Poor Lori back there. Slow this thing down. That was great. Well, here's another excerpt. And of course, this one was curated by River, so it might have some humor to it. So let's see here. I'm scared to see what he's got queued up for us here, but it's going to be fun, I'm sure.
His cases or wherever they are, but
right.
He wanted to come inside, and he had knocked on the glass, and then a team member, like 16-year-old girl, goes out there and just tells him, "Hey, we're not actually open. You can come through drive-through. You can place a mobile order." And the guy just, I mean, for lack of a better term, raises hell. Like, he's just, that's not.
He loses his stuff.
Yeah, he's not okay with that answer. Which he didn't pick. Requires me, because I was the manager on duty, and so I go talk to him. And there was, I mean, it's like you were saying, like, it doesn't matter.
I think this one is where we were talking about the end of 2020 is actually what this was. And this was where you guys were dealing with the public a little bit.
Yep. I remember that.
And it got a little crazy. I think the other one was, this was the one we queued up. And this was,
I can recall that story.
This one. The other one that you guys had queued up. Now, this is going to be funny. It's actually going to be a little embarrassing to see. Who knows how well I did. This was the top 10 business trends of 2021, according to Forbes. So Forbes was prognosticating a little bit last year around this time, January, and it said this is what's going to happen in 2021.
This was when you covered the predictive list of 2021 back in like January
last year. So it'll be interesting to see how
accurate it is.
So let's get into that now. Okay, tonight in our training for episode 450, I want to talk to you about the biggest business trends for 2021. This was developed and produced by Forbes magazine, and they surveyed several economists, several people in the political spectrum, and several people in the business arena to get an aggregate of data that could help them project what's going to happen in 2021. Now, no one really knows, and this is not supposed to be some sort of prophetic saying, or we're not trying to be soothsayers here and try to predict what's going on. But the data shows that these things that we're about to discover are trending, and it just doesn't look like anything on the horizon is going to change that. Now, here's the great news, and I just love this. Here at TW3, just a little self-serving promotion here, we are in a great position to leverage some of the trends that are going on and will continue, it looks like, by all the data points that are out there. We're just in a great position to be able to leverage that and capitalize on that and help a ton more people. So said all that to say, it is a great time to be at TW3. So here are the 10 biggest business trends of 2021. Number one, no surprise, work from home will continue to grow in various markets.
It did.
And it did.
It did.
I mean, that's not a no-brainer there, but it actually exploded. The people that were wanting work from home opportunities, not only just starting a business, but they were already in a business and needed to be able to figure out how to do their existing business from home. That really spiked the business. So that was definitely a one.
What was number two?
Number two, and I'll just fade the music out here because we don't have to go through the whole training there. But if I can get into my comment section.
I think I've actually got it right here if you want me to start.
Okay, yeah, if you can. It's episode 450.
Yeah. So number two was data equals dollars.
And that's been, because
that's more that's the reality of
that's the reality of business and everything. I mean,
that's the reality of our world right now.
I mean, honestly, why is everybody so hot to trot on Facebook?
Yep.
Because Facebook knows all.
Because they got all your info.
And why is this?
You gave it to them.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
And why is our app so cool now? Is because it integrates with social media, so that when someone engages you on social media, you can pull them right over into your CRM, and you've captured all that data.
Yep.
So data is dollars, and once I have you in that, I can text, I can email, I can call, I can schedule, I can do all kinds of things, and that's the way you use social media. But data is dollars, and the more you have it, the more money you got.
True. Number three was business models adapt.
And look what we did that exploded our business. We had to change out some tools. We changed out the financing.
Financing is huge.
The financing was huge. And not only that, you could argue to an extent, even our business model was modified because now our elite members can sell components. So all of that in the aggregate, I think, has made a tremendous net positive for TW3 and moving forward. So that was a predictor that was correct.
Processes would be automated.
That is true, and we have automated more, and will be, hopefully, and you and I have talked about this, the onboarding process and all of that. We're hoping to be even completely automated by this time next year.
Number five was non-traditional funding, which part of this is really fun because I know we already mentioned it, but just a reminder, this was in January. This was streamed 10 months ago, which was January 25th, 2021. January 25th, 2021, we didn't have financing at all.
We didn't have financing.
So it's kind of funny that,
Yeah.
Let's see here. Number six was online presence shifts.
And here again, I mean, I would say back in 2014, a lot of the online marketing gurus, and I don't want to name names, but some of them are friends of mine, were advocating there's no need for a blog anymore. Just set up a Facebook page, set up a LinkedIn profile. That's all you need, to do business, to do marketing. Now those same quote unquote gurus, experts, which I think they are. I mean, they're wise, but I have always said you need your own sandbox because only you control everything I do on social media is rented space. I own TerryWilson3.com. No one can come in and say, I don't like your religion. I don't like your politics. I don't have if I want to say anything about COVID and be as just extreme on either side I want, no one's going to come in and then try to modify, editorialize, or anything else, or shame me. Now, if I start posting that on other platforms, on either side all of a sudden, in the same way with any other subject matter for that matter.
And I think it's important to, when you're starting any type of online presence, typically wherever you start is where the bulk of your audience is going to remain.
Right.
If you start on YouTube, it remains on YouTube a lot of times. If you started on Facebook, you did the little clips, most of your audience is going to be on Facebook because that's where you got your following and stuff. Having your own place, and if you can grow your own space that people are coming to, is way more beneficial for you, because then
I want people that are members of my blog. Well, think about it this way. I have on Facebook,
because then you're not subject to any changes that
anything, no matter what. I mean, but on Facebook, they cap you out at 5,000 friends. And if you've got a page, you can have as many likes or connections to those pages as you want. But here's the dirty little secret. Nobody sees it unless you pay for ads to get it in front of them in their news feed. Now, I've got over 300,000 people on my mailing list. Click a one button, it goes out to their inbox. I can cross-reference everybody that's clicked on something. I can set it up as a trigger to then send them a text. Because I don't want to text that many people. It costs me a fortune. If everybody engages that, I could set up a trigger to drop a voicemail. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do once it's in your own sandbox.
Number 7 here was renewed focus on local businesses.
And what did we talk about this past mastermind? How you could be doing business worldwide, but you can actually modify the way you formulate your text and email and things going out that makes it feel like it's part of that local market right there. We were talking about that.
I think that'll be a big part of 2022 as well.
Absolutely.
Number 8 was purpose-driven business.
I think that even more so, because I know your generation and younger are really big. You look at all these brands that have started up. If you buy this sock, another sock is donated to this. Social awareness and consciousness is huge, and the more you can infuse your brand, your purpose, to have some sort of net positive socially, you're going to attract people that have like values.
And this kind of goes hands in hand. Number 9 was story focused brands, which is
absolutely, well, the way you share your values is through that story. I would tell you the reason our business has such a tight knit group and family is the story. My story attracts the people that have similar stories. And my story is infused with my values that comes from a Christian ethos. So it's no wonder that 99% of our membership's made up of the same worldview.
A lot of like-minded people. And then finally, number 10, self-development brands and products. Self-development brands and products.
And here again, because we're talking about on the front end about how if you want anything out of life, you're going to have to really push hard for it. Well, that comes with that mental and psychological fortitude. Well, how does that happen? That happens through self-development, through learning how not to quit and all that. Well, guys, this has been a great episode. I hope people have gotten a lot out of it. These are some killer episodes. That's what happened in 2021. I had you say that you got off camera, guys. The reason why you saw the camera come back over here, I muted your mics because Dingleberry dropped his phone, and they're all.
Can't say that on a business podcast. Anyway.
That was Reagan, by the way.
River said
just so we know which Dingleberry we're talking about.
Just for the record, it was not this one.
So anyway.
You have any, real quick, because we're wrapping up here. You've got a couple announcements I think you're doing, but before we get to the announcements, any big, bold predictions for 2022?
I don't have any yet, but I'll probably 1st of January, that'll be the theme of our show, what's going to happen in 2023.
Okay.
I think we got a 10 out of 10.
Any personal stuff like that, just self-development, things like, I'm not going to say New Year's resolutions, because I think you should be thinking about your mindset more.
So I started off last year at October of last year. I'd already lost 20 pounds. I started off at 290, and then in October I got down to 270.
And you've done all right.
And I've done all right. I'm down to 220 now. I would like to be this time next year at 180.
120.
No, absolutely not. But I would like to get down to 180, and I'm trying to figure out some different strategies to go about that. I'm not going to do any more exercising than what I'm doing because I'm working out an hour to hour and a half a day, 7 days a week now.
Yeah. I don't think you need more hours.
I don't think the hours. I think the food thing is something I got to continue to think about and work on. That's probably my Achilles heel. Shut up, River.
You're welcome.
But I gotta work on that. I have saw this thing on Netflix that I was watching. It's a science show, and it was talking about out of all things, it started off talking about the science of fission, nuclear fission, not nuclear fusion, but fission, which is what makes the nuclear bomb explode.
Mm-hmm.
And something real weird, you guys would like this. Do you know how carbon-14 dating started? Or through the?
I don't.
I was about to be really impressed. Like, what the hell?
When this nuclear bomb, the first nuclear bomb that was tested back in 1940, I think it was in July of 42 or 45. I don't know the exact.
It was June, but
whatever. But it's around that time the Americans we were testing this out in the desert there in the West. Well, as soon as you drop any of those, one of the things it does is it sprays this weird carbon element that's only made through that throughout really the world. It's right there, and it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't kill you. It doesn't. It's not like radiation, but there is an exact imprint, and when that happens, things that are in the world there, the food that we eat, all that, it gets in our bodies, and so because of that, some of the net positive of that is scientists can look at genes and carbon date your genes, and they can actually say this gene was created in, like, you were born in 1997. This gene in his body, this cell, not gene, but this cell, was been around since 2005. Because it's got this trace, it's got a time stamp on it because of this.
It's pretty cool. What's the utility of that?
The utility of it is this.
I'm so glad you asked.
I'm so glad you asked.
It's almost like this is a podcast and you knew how to
One of the problems in weight loss is your body, even though you go... Huh?
Keep going. I forgot we were talking about weight loss.
Yeah,
carbon dating, and I was like, wait a minute, wait.
Yeah, I'm tying it back to that. This is actually what we're talking about, believe it or not. Your body keeps creating fat cells that you don't need anymore.
Okay.
You're losing all this weight, but your fat cells are just decreasing. They're not going away, and then they die off, but your body creates more. Okay. Because it takes literally over 10 years to train your body to stop recreating the cells it doesn't need anymore. And so one of the problems with weight loss, to keep weight off, is somehow getting your body to... Training your body. And so my next adventure in my health is trying to figure out, is there any way I can expedite that? In other words, my success rate is going to be higher if I can somehow figure out a way to get the fat cells to stop recreating themselves.
Gotcha.
And because it's going to take over 10 years for my body to stop recreating the fat cells it's been creating for the last 10, 15 years of bad health.
Can I recommend a channel you should probably check out that you probably like?
What's that?
It's Dr. Stephanie Buttermore. So I've recommended...
Buttermore is going to teach me how to lose weight.
Yeah.
That's been my problem, is a lot of butter.
She's really smart. I've sent you her either her husband or her fiance's videos. He's a workout expert. He's got a doctorate, I believe, in just fitness health and stuff. And he does a lot of in-depth stuff for weightlifting, which you probably like. But her side of it, she's got a doctorate in cancer research. And she did bodybuilding as like a side hobby. She did it competitively. One of the things that she developed is very similar to what you're talking about. She had trained her body, her satiation, the feeling that we get when we're hungry and stuff.
Yes.
She was hungry all the time. She gave herself anorexia incidentally, just because of her training and like the way that their weight loss works when you're competing in bodybuilding. Well, she had to train her body to realize it was full again. And so she went through an entire year where she did what's called an all-in journey. She based it off of a book where they were talking about weightlifters that have, ruined their appetite, essentially.
Right.
And so she ate whatever she wanted for a year and was training her body to realize when it was full again. And so she gained like 60 pounds. She got pretty big because she was very, very lean before. And then she's lost it now. And she's, for her as a woman, it's sort of helped her like reproductive organs and a lot of important things like that. But a lot of her research was just about that consistency of a diet and how to incorporate it without it feeling like a struggle. Without it. So might be something.
Well, the thing I have learned through this whole process, for me, it's been more about the psychology and less about the physiology than anything else.
Yeah.
And
it's all just games that we play with ourselves. I mean, when it comes to healthy eating, I feel like it is.
I think the advantage I had is it does seem like the very mindset and tools I use to succeed in business is the exact same mindset that you have to have in your health. Because it's the same thing. It is fighting against the resistance, talking yourself out of quitting.
Well, what's the number one thing for results? It's consistency.
Consistency.
Like just being consistent.
Well, yeah, activity drives results. That's what I've always preached, and so that's why it's like when we got back from when did we go up to Greensboro?
Like this weekend.
Okay, I went early that morning because we was going to be on the road all that day.
Yeah.
And then the next day I had a ton of church obligations and stuff like that. So I didn't get to work out till 10 o'clock last night. And then today we're doing podcasts. The first thing I do is get up at 7 in the morning, get over there. So, but it's not any more of a burden or something I've got to do.
But let's talk about you a year ago.
Oh, me a year ago.
You didn't want to go to the gym. Yeah. You didn't want to work out right. But it's just that consistent. I would say 2022 for you, as long as it's, you have developed the muscle memory. You're callous to working out now.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's no longer like, oh, this is my...
It's not a burden.
Right.
It's not
it's
a
part
dread.
Of your day.
Yeah.
And so now that that's there, that's great. It's the diet. Can we...
And I have done better. It's just I'm not where I'm at. I need to be because honestly, I middle of the year I was plateaued down around 245. Didn't go anywhere else. And then your mother came alongside and said, "Hey, I'll help you, and we'll eat healthier." And we got the app, the Weight Watchers app, and so it was all macro stuff.
Yeah.
And that's gotten me down to 220. And now I'm just hovering 220, and I'm eating decent during the week and eating what I want on the weekends, but it's not.
It just gets harder because there's not as many surplus calories to cut for you anymore.
Yeah.
You're still doing the things that you were doing before. You're still doing good. You're still doing well.
Yeah.
You're doing what you're supposed to. It's just harder.
I mean, honestly, I could quit here and be okay.
Yeah.
Because.
Oh, but that's part of the fun is see how far you can take it.
Because that my frame and everything.
Yeah.
But I really think at least 180 is not necessarily my real goal. 200 is
What's going to happen is he's going to hit 200, and then you're going to realize, I could do 20 more pounds.
Yeah.
And then you'll do 20 more
Well, I got to get there first, but 200 is the goal.
And then you'll get to 180 and you'll be like, well, now I could just get a little bit more shredded. Like now that I can kind of see my physique, I would like to build. And so you'll start working that way. And then eventually you're going to be 160 and running marathons.
Probably, because that's the way I've done in business. I remember when I thought $100,000 a year was just the be all end all goal. And then
I told you when you were closer to 300 pounds, I said, if you would just start working out and make it a consistent thing, you would like it. Because I see how you like business. I see how you like philosophy. I see how you like debates. We have a lot of the same interests.
Yeah.
You could find that same passion in working out.
Yeah.
And then here we are a year later.
Same ethic.
But I think that's a good lesson for anyone. You were the least enthusiastic person about physical training that I probably ever met before.
Yeah, that's true.
And then now you're
a changed man, completely different.
Changed man.
I appreciate
You're more consistent on your working out than I am lately.
Well, I appreciate you guys and keeping the ice cream away from me. But anyway, boys, I am looking forward to 2022. If 2021, and we got to keep this in context. 2020 was crazy.
Yep.
And the crazy of 2020 bled into 2021 for a long time. And I'm specifically talking about the mood of the country and the backdrop of this pandemic.
Yeah, sure.
That all affects business.
Absolutely.
Every bit of that affects business. And for us to be able to do well in 2020.
We had a growing year.
And then to grow the way we did this year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, 2022.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good year.
Be a good year.
Good year.
Well, guys, from our family to yours, have a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, a wonderful time with your friends and your family, and hopefully no foes will be around you. And we will be taking this Wednesday off. We'll be taking next Monday and Wednesday off. And we'll be back with you guys the first of the year. I might do a couple pre-recorded podcasts. And here's what I'm thinking. Wouldn't it be cool if somehow I can eke out 4 pre-recorded podcasts before we come back to our live podcast, which means the next live podcast would be episode 500.
Wow.
That'd be pretty cool.
That
Takes
would be
place
cool.
in the new year.
Takes place
That
in the
would be
new
really
year.
cool.
So I might be doing some pre-recorded stuff just to like put one out this Thursday and maybe a Christmas special.
Yeah.
It won't be live or anything like this. So you have to, matter of fact, I am going to do a Christmas special this week. So you have to be subscribed to get that. Go over to terrywilson3.com/iTunes or just go to terrywilson3.com/podcast. I'm on Stitcher. I'm on Pocket Cast. I'm on iTunes. What else am I? I'm not on Spotify. I need to get on Spotify.
You need to
with
get on
this-
Spotify.
You need to
with
get on
this one.
Spotify.
But we'll get that, and I will do a special Christmas thing, and then next week I will do 2 or 3. I don't know what I'm going to do those on yet, but we'll get that. That way, when we pop back in the first Monday of the new year,
Episode 500.
it'll be episode 500.
What are we going to do for episode 500?
Well, we're going to talk about what's ahead in 2022. I'm going to break out some opportunities that our members are going to have. It's going to be really cool. And we'll talk about component sales are going to be huge. I mean, they just are.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge. The enterprise sales are going to be huge. And guys, for $89 a month, you could be put in a position with all the tools, training, and technology you need to explode your business and help others. And one thing we need to wrap up, Reagan and River, on this. Keep in mind, guys, part of what you're buying is the training on how to do this. Don't shortcut that, because it's going to catch up with you. If you don't know how to use some of these tools, you're going to want to do a referral marketing thing later. You're going to want to advise a client later. It does not pay not to know. Now, I understand if you're getting started and you need to get up to speed quickly, then do whatever you got to do. I know you got to outsource things sometimes to make it happen, to get going. But at the end of the day, the more you know, the more valuable you are, and the more people you can help, and the easier it is to sell. So until next time, this is the Wilson family saying Merry Christmas, and we will see you on the flip side next year.
Thank you for listening to our show today at TerryWilson3.com.
Get a free sample copy of the book You Are Worth More by going to TerryWilson3.com now.
If you would like more information on how we can take your money, your business, and your life to the next level, then please visit us online at TerryWilson3.com.